And so when we
So life finally feels normal again.
This feels like a normal Tuesday.
It does.
How about that?
Which-
I hear it's been a while.
Which makes me want to hold on for dear life.
Oh my
Because the minute I
goodness.
say it feels like a normal Tuesday, we'll either have a flood behind us or a power outage, or you will go away again for 2 weeks. One of
No,
those
I think
things.
we're holding on for
We're
this
okay.
normal week. I think you're going to be away
coming.
for a few weeks.
Yes.
So we're not really entering into we're in a normal time.
For this week.
But it will.
This week.
We're still on summer ups and downs.
Yes, we are. So, reminder. First of all, welcome home. We're
Hey,
glad
well,
to have
thank
you back.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're glad to have you back.
Yeah.
We got next week, as I talked on Sunday and Saturday, we have churchwide assembly for the national church. We elect a new bishop a week from now, and
Okay.
and the assembly is like a congregational meeting. It's like a synod assembly that we hosted, but it's just at a national level. So that happens once every 3 years, so it's kind of a big deal. We will be electing a new bishop, which does not happen very often. Often somebody like our current bishop would run for re-election and then pretty much be re-elected, so to
Right.
know that we leave churchwide assembly, there will be not installed and working, but there will be a new bishop by this fall. So that's kind of a big deal. And so I'm here through Saturday, and then Sunday I got to go because I'm on that church council, and it's all meetings on Sunday, just getting ready. And then Monday the thing kicks off, then I'm gone, so you won't see me next Tuesday or Thursday. Then I'm back for the weekend, and then you'll see me on Tuesday, the week from Tuesday,
Yep. And Bible study.
and Bible study, and then I'm off again to go get my dad. So lots
Yeah.
of stuff.
And in between, you have to find a place and get everything ready so that your dad has somewhere to go.
Correct.
When he gets here.
Correct.
And you have somewhere to go.
And I have a place to live and a place to
You
hang
got to
my
have
hat.
a place to live too.
That's right. So we got the movers lined up for that too. So the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks are somewhat action packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really like, settle down.
Oh, yeah.
We're all everything's.
Let's ease into fall. There's none of that.
Yeah.
There's
wow.
none of that. But we'll be okay. We'll get there.
It's a lot. It's been a busy summer in a lot of ways. It's chaotic. Since I've been away, I know things have been pretty chaotic around here
Yeah.
too. I mean, from mission trip and everything onward for me.
and
but,
family tragedy on my end, and all that. And
I know.
it's certainly not the summer I asked for.
Right. Right. We had a busy summer lined up no matter what.
No matter what, which would have been full in itself. But
certainly would.
yeah, and as it turns out, not that I'm like saying poor me, but like any actual vacation plans for our family just have been completely out the
Really,
window.
you haven't booked any time up at your cabin?
No, none.
No.
Doesn't look like it's going to happen, except for maybe me going by myself as a work trip to work on stuff, but not go on vacation. Just because I'll probably have to go up there, do a few things, and close it up for the year because that's at.
Yeah, looking at closing it up.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the.
I mean, I think it's just figuring out what it looks like going forward.
That's right, and what that'll
I
look
think
like.
you gotta take some time with where you're at there and see.
Because my dad will have
See what
some
happens.
bearing on schedule, having my father with us and needing to make sure that all of his needs are taken care of too. So that will impact both Rachel and I and how we live that out, right? So, but that will come with time to figure out, what that looks like. We don't know
What
yet.
that looks like.
Yeah.
Sure.
So did you do any fishing while you were in Minnesota?
I did.
Good.
Well, no, my kids did. I did not buy a license myself, but kids get to fish
For free,
So
for free.
I
Yep.
was unhooking fish and gently.
There you
pushing
go.
back to
So
the lake.
some bluegill, some
sunnies.
sunfish, all
The
sunfish.
sunnies.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. There
yep.
were a few bass out there, but my kids did not catch any.
Every so often, were they on a dock?
No, so my
You were out in the
dad
boat.
still has a boat, which is it's a lot to take care of a boat, and I mean
know about
here
that
we
too.
are in middle of July, and my parents they celebrated their 50th anniversary,
That's
so
awesome.
that's super exciting.
Yep.
But I mean they had not, I mean just with their schedules and how much it is, like they had not
Been out in the
been
boat?
out on the boat yet, and so each year I'm kind of crossing my fingers that when we go back to Minnesota they'll still have the boat,
Right.
Because it does get to be a lot.
And in case you
But-
don't know, because we live in a desert, even though we have Lake Mead, A boat is an invitation to own a money pit.
Yes. They say the best day of your life is the day you buy a boat, and the next best day of your life is the day you sell it.
They
Yeah.
sell it,
Yeah.
and there is something to that because you not only have to clean that kind of stuff, but every year you have to get it tuned up. You need to change the gas in it. You,
You're always just holding your breath when the first time
you
start
start
it
it up,
Yeah.
and you have to winterize a boat,
Yeah.
and not the boat, but the engine. And not that you care, but you have to get all the water out of it. You
Yeah.
have to do something called fog the engine with oil so it doesn't rust. And then you put it away, and then you put gas in
all
it the first
all the
time.
little mice things to make sure mice don't
Don't
get
get
in
in
there on
there,
the wires
too.
or
That's right,
anything
all
like
of that.
that. So yeah.
And he's absolutely right. You take it out, you put it in the water for the first time, and you go, man, I hope this thing starts every year.
Yeah,
every
they're
year.
a lot, and it was great. So I
That's
mean,
good.
My kids, they didn't try water skiing. My dad did at 72. He got up
Good for
water skiing,
him.
so that was fun. Kids got kneeboarding, and that was
That's good
great.
too.
And,
That's good too.
Yeah,
How
but yeah.
how close is a lake to your parents' home to get out on the water?
So about 6 miles,
That's
but
not bad.
we don't ski or fish in that lake because it's so many of the lakes. I mean, there's runoff from the fields,
Yeah,
and you
all
just
of
don't
that,
want to.
yeah.
So, but we did spend some time up north
Okay.
where the lakes are very clear.
Clear. Yep.
They look nice.
Yep.
They're beautiful, and the kids love
Oh, that's
jumping in
wonderful.
and doing that. So I should probably spend a little time and put up a post at least. I could have prepared a 3-hour slideshow, but
Right,
I
right,
thought
a
maybe
family.
we'll
family.
keep it based on the Bible today.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I have one more question because you were in Minnesota, you were in the upper
Yes,
Midwest, and
yes.
it's summer. Did you get any sweet corn?
We did.
I knew it. I just knew
You
it.
have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Sweet corn is a thing in the Midwest in the summer, and I think that goes from the top of the United States all the way to the deep South. Summer and sweet corn go together, right?
Yes.
And some people like to boil it with water and sugar. Some people straight water. Some people like milk. Boil it in
Really?
milk and water. Yeah, there's
I guess
all
we're
sorts of
pretty
things.
vanilla. We just
water.
do boil it in water.
Just water.
Yeah.
I know some people do it sugar water to kind of up the ante on the.
The ante, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, this was. I mean,
I boil mine in sweet tea.
there you go. it is noticeable up there. Yeah. You can. Yeah. So I guess you have the sweet corn experience. You have the fishing and the lake
fishing.
experience. You have the mosquito experience.
Mosquito and deer
the
flies.
kids, yeah. I guess they stayed up.
I mean, the
and,
only other thing,
they
depending
caught
on the time,
fireflies too. So they went out
Fireflies.
and caught fireflies.
would have been a trip to Dairy Queen or the local soft serve, walk up and get ice cream place. But not every town has one of those.
They did get ice cream, no soft serve. It was the
Scoop, hard packed stuff.
Yeah.
How
But
about that?
Yeah, kids did get some ice cream too.
Yeah. So that you have, I think,
That kind of
checked
fills out the
every box.
Minnesota bingo card then,
Yeah,
right?
for upper Midwest vacation living, you hit every one of those things. So that's impressive. I'm impressed.
That's all you do in
Yeah,
Minnesota. You get
yeah.
all those things. And one of my kids, Isaac, our middle child
Now, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, he is especially prone to mosquito bites.
There are some skin types
Are some that
that
just seem to
attract
get
them.
slammed,
Yeah.
right? Oh
Yeah.
man.
And there's all sorts of homeopathic remedies, from making an X with your fingernail,
Gotta make the X.
make the X.
I got a few I could do that. Right?
My
yeah.
grandmother, God rest her soul, she was a firm believer in clear nail polish. You know,
Really?
the alcohol and the
Mm-hmm.
creative shell, not a lot, just, and and she was born in 1898. My grandmother.
Oh, wow.
I mean, like by
Wow.
the time I'm a kid, she's already in her 80s, right?
Yeah.
And she swore by, put a little clear nail polish on it, and but you can't do that if you have a kid who's prone to 50 or 60 of them, because you'd be spray painting the whole kid with. But
Yeah,
the X
you
is
gotta-
the good remedy to alleviate some of the itching, and somehow it works.
It does. Whatever grandma had, whether it was calamine lotion or
Yeah,
whatever,
right.
like she just
Loaded up with the pink
loaded-
calamine,
it was
right?
just polka dotted, and I think,
Yeah.
it seemed to make him feel better.
That's
Yeah.
all good. That's all good. I think that's wonderful. So the other nice thing for you, and I think all of us can agree to that, is that we got a little break in the weather, and
Ooh, yeah.
here, early last week, a week ago, we were up 108, 110, 112, and it's nice to be in the low hundreds right now for you to re-enter into
Kinda a
desert
slow
living.
entry
You
into
know,
desert living.
it's way better than
Yes.
walking into a wall of 110. That's for sure, right?
It is. It's
Yeah.
it's noticeable this time of year. Now we become the heat experts, and you
And
can
and by the way,
that
if you
113
did
versus
not know,
108.
yesterday marked the average peak of summer in Las Vegas.
Oh,
that
did it?
that over 75 or 100 years of weather, results compiled.
Yes.
Today begins the downswing on average. Not that you won't have hot days, but we've hit the peak of the hot weather, and now we're on the downside of summer in terms of heat, historically
Wow.
speaking.
Historically speaking,
Yeah.
who knows what's going to happen this year?
We could have
but,
120 next week,
yes,
right?
But
You know,
historically speaking,
we've already hit
All
the peak
right.
of summer as of yesterday. It's kind of like, June 21st is the longest day of the year,
Mm-hmm.
summer solstice. Well, yesterday was the peak of heat, and we begin, historically speaking, the ticking down, slowly, obviously, but
slowly.
but we've made it through in some ways,
Okay.
so which is good.
Which is good.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is good.
So last couple of weeks you were gone. We did a couple of KCLC songs.
KCLC.
Yeah,
We're back.
Yeah, we had One Tin Soldier from the
Yeah.
'60s last
So
week.
that was a song that I remember hearing on the radio growing up, and it's just it's been around a while.
So I mentioned this, and let's see if it rings true for you. I was introduced to the song at church summer camp.
Oh, really? No, I did
Yeah.
not hear
Okay.
it as
okay.
as a
Yeah.
summer camp
That was one of
song.
those on the acoustic guitar. And,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's one that I did hear on the radio, and I heard it as a kid, and it's a song that just the narrative-wise, the story.
great story.
It draws you in.
Yeah.
I remember that. Like
Yeah.
when you brought it up that this would be a song that would be part of the KCLC.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that and listening and just that was my memory of being drawn into the narrative,
story.
the storytelling of that song.
And then the week before we did Have I Told You Lately That I Love You, which
Mm-hmm.
was a Van Morrison song, but a lot of folks remember it, the Rod Stewart version.
Okay, so Van Morrison first.
Yeah,
and then
he
Rod
wrote it.
Stewart.
And
Yeah.
not only
Rod
that,
Stewart's
but
a returning artist to KCLC.
yeah, he's had a couple of appearances. We did
Yeah.
one last year, Forever Young,
Forever Young.
because it was like a
Which he-
blessing,
Yeah,
you know.
Forever Young, and that was also a remake of a Bob Dylan.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. So,
that?
but we're in the heart of it now, and
Mm-hmm.
as I've said to you, every year folks ask, "Is it coming back? Is it coming back?"
it did.
And so here we are in the
So-
middle of it.
So it is.
But we are going to revisit One Tin Soldier on Thursday on the broadcast. But today we wanted to go back to a song that you've heard before, but it's such a good song that it's well worth revisiting and talking. It happened at our 11 o'clock service this weekend, and it is a reminder of who we are and who we belong to. So let's take a listen.
I was walking Jesus. Come on. I'm gonna climb a mountain. I'm gonna shout about it. I am a child of love. Yes, I am. I found a world of freedom. I found a friend in Jesus. I am a child of love. Come on, Ashley.
I felt the sting of the fire, but I saw you in the flames. Just when I thought it was over, you pulled me out of the grave.
I'm gonna climb a mountain. I'm gonna shout about it. I am a child of love. Shout it out now. I found a world of freedom. I found a friend in Jesus. I am a child of love.
I say yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I am a child of love.
I say yeah,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh, I am a child of love.
Nothing can change the way you love me. Nothing can change the way I belong to you. Yes, I do. Nothing can separate.
Nothing can change the way you love me. Nothing can change the way I belong to you. Yes, I do.
Nothing can separate.
I'm gonna climb a mountain. Sing it, come on. I am a child of love, like you mean it now. I found a world of freedom. I am a child of love. I am a child of love.
I'm gonna climb a mountain. I'm gonna shout about it.
I am a child of love.
Oh, yeah.
I found a world of freedom. I found a friend in Jesus. I am a child of love.
I say yeah,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh, I am a child of love.
I say yeah,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
I am a child of
We just need to hear reminders every so often,
Amen.
Right?
Yeah.
and something to get our energy and blood and kind of spirit moving, and that song will do it.
It's a great song.
It is. It's
Yeah,
by
They did a great job.
We the Kingdom, and fairly not new, but a newer contemporary Christian band. And we've done some of their other music at 11 o'clock. There is an awesome song called Holy Water that they do.
Yes. Another
Um,
great one.
And we've done that, and it is really a good song. And also Sing Wherever I Go is also We the Kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
you know that. We
I
do
do.
that at
I
11.
didn't,
You
I
might,
didn't put that together. Okay.
if you don't go to 11 o'clock, you wouldn't know those songs, but those are ones that we do at 11 o'clock. And We the Kingdom is an excellent Christian group that writes their own music, and they kind of have a some of their songs kind of a gritty, kind of organic feel to them, and they're just really good. So you can see why we would want to sing this every so often and share it. Now there were some of the things in this song that I pulled out today to illustrate kind of different parts of the song with some scripture, and some of it familiar and some of it may not be, but I just want to share it with you. So song opens up, right? I was walking the wayside, lost on a lonely road. I was chasing the high life, trying to satisfy my soul. An admission of kind of living life on your own terms and not really working out the way you thought it would by doing everything that you want to do. And I was reminded immediately, so I was thinking about this song, was specifically a verse that I actually referenced on Sunday and Saturday in the sermon, and it's this note, and you probably remember this. St. Paul is writing to his protege Timothy, and he's kind of pouring his knowledge into Timothy, and there's 1st and 2nd Timothy, and those are letters by Paul, and I'm sure there was even more correspondence. We just don't have them anymore. And within that first letter, and near the end of the letter, Paul writes this. He says, "But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it." And that's what I shared in the message. But let me keep going a little bit longer. He says, "But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that." And then he gives a warning, and I want to unpack this. People who want to get rich fall into the temptation and a trap and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. So he gets into this thing. He's talking about, look, if you're looking for satisfaction in your life, doing your own thing will only take you so far. But when you live your life in service to something greater, there's a lot of satisfaction. There's a lot of contentment in that. And knowing that you're really created for a greater purpose. And when you find not only that purpose, but who you're doing it for, that is when you find that godliness with contentment is great gain. And then he's like, but by the way, if you're just kind of doing your own thing and always want to do your own thing, not for a greater purpose and not for greater service, he said, what it'll turn into is chasing the dollar. He's not saying that earning a living's bad. I mean, I think people misinterpret that. It's not about making a living that's bad.
Right. But it's that if you think, if I just get a little bit more, then I'll be happy, and you spend your life chasing.
And that's some also interesting you bring that up. I mentioned the fact that often in life, a lot of folks either play offense or defense, in the sense of I'm either trying to hold on to what I have for dear life, defense, or I'm on this road of trying to accumulate. I'm on offense all the time, right? And maybe there's a third way that isn't offense or defense. But when you get caught into that game of playing offense more and more and more, and as long as I doing my thing so that I can get a little bit more, then it ends up being hollow or empty. Once again, this is not about making a living so that one can take care of, bills and life, and that's not what we're talking about. It's about what you're chasing. And that's why Paul says, Timothy, he's like, look, godliness with contentment is great gain. That's where you want to be. And it's not about the other things. The other things are fine until you make them your number one priority and you chase them, and then it just leads to emptiness in the end. And so I was walking on the wayside, lost on a lonely road. I was chasing the high life, trying to satisfy my soul. And all the lies I believed in left me crying like in the rain. Then I saw lightning from heaven, and I've never been the same. And, to me, living with purpose in conjunction with living in service to a greater thing, to God, brings a lot of satisfaction. And it's not about the other, it's like what Jesus said. He's like, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, that is relationship, and all these things will be added to you. Like everything else will fall into place.
Yeah. And
so making sure the first things remain first, God, everything else will fall into place. And I think it's true in my life. When I start pursuing something other than being in service to God, then things go off the rails, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's an important thing to remember. And then in another line in the song, it says, I felt the sting of the fire and I saw you in the flames. Just when I thought it was over, you broke me out of the grave. And of course, when you think about sting of the fire,
seeing God
in the flames, there's only one place you can go. I mean, there's probably more, but the most obvious one.
The most obvious direct, this is literally Yeah,
So
the story.
we go back to the Old Testament. It's the time of the exile, and meaning the time when the Babylonian army had brought all of the leadership of Israel out of Israel to Babylon and then eventually Persia. And during that time, all those leaders were in service to Nebuchadnezzar the king, where the story of Daniel the prophet happens. And there's a moment when Nebuchadnezzar builds this gold statue of himself. And he says, every time you hear the horn blow, everybody should bow and worship the golden statue of me.
Yeah.
And Daniel,
fun.
yeah, right. Sounds like a blast, right? Imagine something the size of the stratosphere overlooking all of the valley instead
People blowing horns.
and
you
you
can-
just, but it's it's a person anyways. Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who are Jewish and only have a heart for God, said, well, everybody else can bow down and worship, but we're not going to do that.
It doesn't sound like a great thing.
That's not a good idea. And so they basically don't do it. There's some people that tattle on them, like, oh, they're not bowing and worshiping. Nebuchadnezzar summons them, and he's so mad. He says, I want you to get a big furnace going full of heat, and their punishment for not worshiping the golden statue of me is I'm going to throw them into this fiery furnace meant for people who won't worship Nebuchadnezzar. So that's where we pick up the story.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So these men, it says in Daniel 3, wearing robes, trousers, turbans, and other clothes, were bound and thrown into the blazing furnace. The king's command was so urgent and the furnace so hot that the flames of the fire killed the soldiers who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, firmly tied, fell into the blazing furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar leapt to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, weren't there 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire? They replied, certainly, O king. He said, look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods.
It's quite a story.
That's quite a story.
Yeah.
Which Daniel has. I mean, Daniel is a pretty captivating narrative.
Yeah.
with,
The first
story there.
7 chapters is the story. The last 4 chapters or so is prophecy, right?
Yeah.
So, but there's this thing where he's like, the fire was so hot that the soldiers who were commanded to take those 3 up to the fire and throw them in, the fire was so hot that it consumed those guys.
That's hot.
That's hot.
Yeah.
And I think I've told you the story before, but it reminds me when I was a kid, we used to do every year for our church do a hay rack ride and a hot dog. We called them weenie roasts, but
Yeah, but this is at your church growing up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was always at a farm of one of our members, right? And we did it every year. He loved doing a hay rack ride for us, for anybody who wanted to go. And so, we'd have 50 folks going on this thing. And he'd take us out to the edge, kind of the middle, not the edge, the middle of his property, far off the beaten track, on the hay rack ride, and he would build a fire for us to grill hot dogs. And then people would bring beans and chips and all that kind of stuff, right? So it was kind of like a potluck, but it was hot thing. Well, this guy, his name was Ab. Ab loved to build a big fire.
Okay.
When I say a big fire, I mean a fire that was 10 feet by 10 feet of wood.
That's a big fire.
I don't mean oh, look at this coffee table and it was stacked with wood and once he lit all the way, it was a big fire. No, I mean the size of this room fire. Because it was in the middle of his property and nothing was going to burn down, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he built this fire. And it was so hot. And then you say, how hot was it?
How
Thank you.
hot
It's just
was
like,
it?
Just like Johnny Carson in the old days. You couldn't get close enough to grill the hot dogs. When I hear this story, I think about that as a
Yeah.
kid.
Get a really long stick.
You couldn't get one long enough to get it. It was so hot, you'd be like, you got like 5 seconds and you'd have to like pull back. There came a point where we tried to cook hot dogs with like a jacket over our head, like covering us, and like trying to do that, and it was still too hot. And you could have smelted iron in this campfire that he built because it was so hot. I bet it burned for another 3 days. I mean, that's how hot it was.
Yeah.
And even like, I mean, it wasn't just the kids, like even the adults couldn't get anywhere
near
close
that.
to this thing, right? It was radiating such heat. And of course everybody was teasing him for, what an excellent fire starter he was because it was so hot nobody could even get close enough to cook the hot dogs. Like I think some people just resorted to eating like lukewarm hot dogs because you're like, I can't even get close enough to even get flame on this thing, right?
Right. That's impressive.
It was impressive, and we talked about it for years afterwards. But this fire, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, their punishment for not worshiping Nebuchadnezzar, thrown into the fire, and immediately the king who's like watching this, which is kind of sick, by the way. Like, oh, I'm sentencing you to death, and I'm going to watch you die.
Yeah. For not bowing down and
For not-
worshiping me
yeah.
as a god.
Right.
Yeah.
Sees 4 people in the flames. And he like recognizes the 3, and then he says that 4th one looks like, and let me use the words, looks like a son of the gods. Now that's impressive because, he didn't believe in the God of Israel. Daniel kept trying to introduce him to him, but, and he recognizes that 4th one as being divine. And when he finally summons Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego out of the fire, only the 3 come out, and the 4th disappears, right? And what I find fascinating about this, 2 things. One is that this is long before the time of Jesus, yet there is a human apparition or visage of the God of Israel as a human being in that fire with those 3. Even if you want to look at that story and say, quite possibly this is a hyperbole or an exaggeration or any number of things, right? You can just say, maybe it didn't quite happen that way. But the fact that the story got told that the God of Israel took on human form even in that moment was so foreign to Israel at that time that just seems like, how's that even in there? You'd be more apt to have, like, remember in Elijah, where he calls down and God brings fire onto his sacrifice. The opposite would be more plausible in that time to say, and then God sent the rains that killed the fire, right? Kind of like Elijah with the priests of Baal. But no, there's this moment where God shows up as in or like human form. And yet we don't actually get into that being a reality until, the incarnation, the God becoming flesh in the person of Jesus. So I find that fascinating that it shows up there when everything theologically of that period would tell you that should not happen, as imagery even.
Yeah.
Secondly,
Yeah, that is a fascinating point.
you
Yeah.
just kind of a nuance. But the bigger point is God's with us when we're going through the firestorm of life. I mean, that's the spiritual truth in this, is that God shows up and walks with us even when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death. That God doesn't abandon us when we're struggling. That God says, I'm going to be there. And so I think that's the bigger spiritual truth of the story, is that God shows up when we struggle and doesn't forget us.
Yeah.
And it did impress Nebuchadnezzar in the end.
Yes, Nebuchadnezzar gets impressed. He discovers that he's not a god either by the end of the story.
Yeah, right, right. Especially when the handwriting on the wall arrives.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it wasn't him at that point. It was his grandson at that point.
But yes,
But when
he
he
discovers that he's not
when
all.
he went a little when the
started
cheese
eating grass.
the cheese slid off his cracker and started eating grass and mooing like a cow, and until and this is the quote, until you acknowledge that there's a God in heaven, you will stay that way. And finally looked up and it came to his right mind and acknowledged there was a God and basically told Daniel,
and it's not him.
yeah, it's not me. And Daniel, you're right. So he does come to his senses finally. But let's finish the chorus today. I am a child of love. I found a world of freedom. I have a friend in Jesus. I am a child of love. Which, in some ways, that phrase, I'm a child of love, does not show up in the Bible. But it says two things. I am loved, and I am capable of showing love.
Yeah.
It's not just
Yeah.
one thing. I am
Absolutely.
loved, and I am capable of love.
Yeah.
Which, of course, I think about that declaration in 1 John chapter 3, and this is what it says. Chapter 3, verse 1, 1 John. How great is the love of the Father that has been lavished upon us, that we should be called the children of God. And then he says, and that's what we are. I mean, he literally puts it in. It's like, that's what we are. The reason the world does not know us as children of God is that it does not know God. Dear friends, he's talking to the Christians, he's talking to us. He says, now we are the children of God, and what we will be has not yet been made known. But we do know that when Jesus appears, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. So he says a couple of things. A, we've been adopted. We are children of God. We are children who are loved and capable of love. And then he says, and just so you know, if people don't get it, it's okay. Because if they don't know God, they're not going to know who you are either as a child of God. He said, that's just the reality of things. And he says, and just so you know, the big secret is this, is that God's not done working on us, in that as the children of God, and what we will be has not yet been made known. In other words, we're still being formed, and one day we will be perfected in the same way that when Jesus rose from the dead, he was different bodily than he was prior to the crucifixion. He was just different.
Yeah.
He showed up,
Yeah.
he disappeared, he
He was with them, but at
He
the
was
same time, it's
different.
Yeah.
And so he's making that allusion to like, just so you know, we will be like that one day. And it's kind of like God's not done with us. And that is good news because God wants to work on us, form us, shape us, and fill us. And one day we will resemble Jesus in that glorified form, which is really good because there are days when my knee hurts and I twist my ankle or I not feeling great or I have a headache. Like, it's good that one day we will be perfected and glorified, all because we are a child of love.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, that's what I got for today.
That's what we got.
Yeah. So we're glad that you've joined us. Please join us on Thursday. We're going to revisit 110 Soldier. Want to talk about that a little bit more. And you get to hear Dana's rendition, Dana and
Dana's
Philip's
rendition of
rendition
it,
of
yeah.
that. And it was beautiful. Great arrangement of that song.
Awesome.
And but until then, we hope you have a great rest of your day. God bless you. We love you. And at this moment of time, I'm going to ask Philip to play us out.